we thank all the brotherhoods of light present here. In the previous session, we were giving an example of the importance of having the presence of all available beings of light, regardless of their origin. To remember what has been said about our Brasilis land, the house of the Lord has many mansions, and among them some which we are learning to respect. So we must strive to better understand our friends whose experiences are not known to us, but they are still good experiences. That is why we now understand why the channel was directed to the experiences in other spaces that were of great use to us. Although we understand that the lack of knowledge creates a barrier against these brothers and sisters of ours, the intervention of our Supreme Being was important for us to be open to these brothers and sisters of ours as well. We must keep an open mind, an open heart to all the experiences that can add to this glorious work that we are beginning. Recalling the past session, our mentor, taking advantage of the occasion of the date of September 11th, informed us about the history of the United States and Europe and the various attempts of a regional leadership. As was already known by us, perhaps not by you human beings. He also talked about the long-term plan to make Brazil a nation whose efforts will be concentrated in becoming a great nation, a nation which will lead the spiritual evolution of this new era. This planning regarding Brasilis land is being done in the higher spiritual spheres. It's a job that started some time ago, but because of some religious leaders, it has been misled again, and we have the great mission of putting the work back on track. Putting the work back on the right track. All right, let's continue our activities of clarification as to what happens to human beings in regard to energy. For this, we will again count on our spirits of light who have dedicated themselves to this issue in several past lives and who have a great knowledge about spirituality and energy in human bodies. So, I pass the word to the expert. Thank you very much. Being of light. May the violet flame be used for the transmutation of energy here in this environment. I raise this energy through the violet flame of transmutation. I create the spiral of violet light and send all the energy released into the violet fire for transmutation. Good evening, everyone. I have just performed a ritual for the transmutation of energy here in this environment. This ritual serves as an example of how it is possible that the energies of the material world can be transformed in order to make the environment with more positive energies. It is a slightly different form, but with the same principles of what Allan Kardec in Spiritism call a Magnetic Passe, or what the Church of World Messianity call Johrei. These rituals are an expression of the energization of human beings from energies proceeding from spirituality, from the White Brotherhood. It is important to know that all people can perform this ritual. Of course, one has to be properly prepared for this task, but it is important to mention that there is no exception here. We are all able to do this ritual, regardless of our degree of mediumship and of any situation. One becomes suitable through one's behaviors in the world. Obviously, the higher the positive energy one absorbs, the more effective this energization will be. It is known through Master Tanaka that he can very effectively transmute these energies, and does so from an early age up to this day. But again, I point out that all human beings can do this. All one needs is to want to and to prepare for it. It doesn't take a special gift for that. Is that understood? Okay, this is especially important because we spirits of light want this knowledge to be spread to as many people as possible, because only in this way will we transform the world. It is enough that the person has a conduct of righteousness in one's habits, is free of any drugs from the world, and can connect with spirituality through meditation, through emptying of the mind. This is enough to make the connection with spirituality and thus be able to transmute energy. In the not too distant future, we envision a good part of people transmuting energy. With this, many things will change in the daily lives of human beings. Imagine, for example, that through the transmutation of energy, the material displacement of human beings is possible. Consequently, many changes will occur from there. When the first human being manages to make the physical transmutation from one location to another, the world will undergo a very big change. These changes will be beneficial to most human beings, but the impact on the real world will be huge, and we all need to be prepared for that. Imagine, for example, a world where vehicles will no longer be needed. Imagine the impact on people's lives without the need for a vehicle. Highways will no longer be needed. Public transportation will no longer be needed. Automobiles, planes, trains, buses, as well as ships will no longer be needed. With this, much of the physical spaces will be used for other things. Imagine a world without parking lots, without highways, without the pollution of vehicles. The world will be very different. Imagine the economy without the need for oil, for fuel, without the need for companies that make vehicles and satellites and so on. From the moment when the human beings discover this possibility, there will be a race for spiritual evolution. All human beings will have as their goal their spiritual evolution. And this will enable human beings to become better people, and the world will live a new age. An age where brotherhood, the spirit of companionship, the sensitivity of one human being to another will be the emphasis. Of course, this possibility today seems an insane possibility to human beings. The reality is so distant that in pronunciating such words, obviously you will be called crazy. But believe me, beloved beings, this is the future of humanity. This is a determination of the ascendant beings, of the ascended masters, so that the world can quickly engage into a new age. It is important that you, more evolved human beings, like Master Tanaka, seek this evolution in order to realize in the material world the possibility of material transmutation, showing in the real world this possibility, and everything becomes easier in spiritual evolution. And we, spirits of light, will be at your side to progressively prepare you for this activity of transmutation. It is a very radical change, but rest assured that we will take care that this transmutation is as comfortable as possible for you. Master Tanaka, we would like to hear your position regarding this truth that has been told you about the planning of the Ascended Masters. Master Tanaka, we are here working intensely, doing meditation, emptying the mind, and maintaining absolute silence in order to receive divine energy and divine truth. So, right now, we are doing this and increasingly creating the conviction that we can materialize, levitate, and teleport. We are working focused on this line. Being of light 2. Excellent, Master Tanaka. Excellent news. We are aware of all the dedications of you and the other members of the group. We are very happy about that. And we will do everything we can to make this a reality as soon as possible. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as human beings are skeptical, it would be interesting and especially important that behind this actual activity is also giving a theory of how this is possible. It is important to mention to you that matter is made of energy. It is known, and science has already proven, that by adding more energy to a matter, this matter can change state. In the same way that by heating water, it changes to the gaseous state, and by cooling water, it changes to the solid state, the energy that a human being receives enables the transmutation of this human being into another matter, and then the consolidation of that same matter in another place. So the logic for this transmutation is already known in the scientific field. Just as cell waves or radio waves are sent from one location to another, the transmuted human being can be transported from one region to another. Therefore, this issue is already known by the scientific field. Now, because of the limitation of human beings, because of their dogmas and preconceptions, they do not imagine the possibility of a transmutation of the human being. It is also known that this happened in the past in several situations. We can mention, for example, the Incas and the Mayans, who already knew at that time about the transmutation of the human being, the transmutation of the physical body. But back then, those human beings decided not to inhabit the third dimension anymore. They decided to move into another dimension for good. But there was a choice, and they could move to another location within the third dimension. But by their free will, they decided not to attend the third dimension anymore. The examples are there. Well, everyone, I think we can close this session for the day. We are incredibly pleased to finally be able to disclosure this issue to the world. It is information we have known for a long time, but we always evaluate it as inappropriate because it would be rejected by human beings. But the evolution of many allows us to touch on this subject. I believe that it is still risky, but it is important that we plant this first seed on the subject of transmutation. Very well. I thank you all for another session. And again, I can say on behalf of all the spirits of light that we are incredibly pleased with this possibility of announcing that was granted to us by the Ascended Masters of Light. Thank you all very much. See you next time.